Welcome my friends, welcome back to Project TAS. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you've watched any of my previous videos, thank you for returning to my channel. Today we're doing another Blake 7 episode review from Season 3. As always, I will point out that this review will inevitably touch upon certain plot elements of this episode, and may even reveal developments for the series of Blake 7 as a whole. So if you haven't seen this episode, or anything else in terms of Blake 7, a huge spoiler alert is in order. In case you wish to do a bit of Blake 7 catch-up prior to watching this review, you have been warned. Right, let's get to it, shall we? After all the bitching I give to episodes for not feeling like Blake 7, or being too silly and inconsistent, or for the really hilarious special effects, here I am giving a star to Ultraworld, a story about three human-sized bald smurfs living in a giant disco ball with a few thousand geriatric zombies all worshipping a giant pulsating ballsack which is referred to as the all-powerful core, all of which are defeated by Villa's jokebook.
Which lock can't be opened by a key? An airlock.
Yeah, I really like it. Go figure. Maybe it's the fact I alluded to in my review for the episodes before this one, Sarcophagus, that this was on one of the two Blake 7 videos we bought for my mum, which made Ultraworld the fourth Blake 7 episode I ever watched, and watch it I did, over and over again, until I got some new episodes. I have approached these rewatched episodes with a neutral perspective and tried to forget that in my youth, Ultraworld represented 1/4 of everything I knew about Blake 7 for quite a long time. Yet I still find this episode inanely watchable. It sets up what it's going to do, revealing what it's going to be about in a consistent way, and doesn't deviate from its premise at all. It's not presented as a comedy episode, but it also doesn't take itself too seriously. And while a lot of other episodes sometimes find it difficult to mix its scenes together and work as a central story, this one works by not having too many premises or themes or strands and having them work with each other in the telling of and ultimately the resolution of the story. It's an episode that has fun, and so we can as well. The characters all have their own part to play in the story as well, or at least serve a specific plot point specific to the story. Avon is the guide, the one who interprets the power plant, planet they are on, understanding it, realising the danger that they're all in, and explaining it in quite a to-the-point way. Terrence and Dana are the ones who actually get on with things. Yes, we now know we're in trouble, we're going to figure out how to get out of it. Another utilisation of our new characters to keep us invested in them, a lesson that regrettably was not brought over when Sulin came aboard. Villa seems to be on the outside, out of harm's way, but he shares the spotlight just as much as everyone else, and ultimately saves the day in his own idiosyncratic way. With Aurak's help, who also gets his 15 minutes in this episode. Callie is the whole reason the others teleport down to Ultraworld. She is hypnotised into teleporting herself down and getting captured by those three blue dudes and their zombies, known as the Menials, a rather amusing designation for the employees that I shall use next time I'm in my office. But while Callie's participation gets the ball or plot rolling, Jan Chappell, who plays her, ultimately loses out again. She has a speaking part at the beginning and the end of the episode. The rest of the time she's being mind-wiped and spends this time pretending to be unconscious for about the 20th time this season. On the face of it, it seems incredible sometimes that Jan Chappell wanted to leave at the end of the series. There are at least 3 episodes centred on her in this series, not including this one, 2 of which she plays 2 different characters, one her annoying twin sister, the other a scary twin alien. And yet it's episodes like this, which started to crop up far too often from Series 2 onwards, which consigned Callie to the Liberator on teleport duty, or some sort of long-winded unconsciousness, which includes 2 of those 3 episodes that were centred on her. Whatever was offered to Miss Chappell in terms of stories and developments for Callie, it clearly wasn't enough to convince her to hang around for the last series, and I personally can't say I blame her. Apart from providing the latest nail in the coffin of Miss Chappell's interest in Blake 7, there is little cause to complain with Ultraworld. It's fast-paced, amusing in places, and while it's not particularly deep or thought-provoking, and essentially boils down to a B-movie Monster of the Week kind of episode, it's more than entertaining enough to earn its 1 star. So, why only the 1? Well, I believe my synopsis of the plot may give you a clue. If you need to hear it again, you may go back on the cursor. It's also the fact that there isn't much in the way of a backstory as to the creation of Ultraworld, and the Ultra, the custodians as they call themselves, how they came to be there, looking after Ultraworld. All we get is, it built itself. Yeah, jolly good, But what really happened? How did it really come into being? And how Huey, Dewey and Louie ended up babysitting it? Gathering information? Yes, I can appreciate that there would be some species out there whose sole purpose is to learn everything. But to do so aggressively and feeding its victims to the core, causing it to grow. I would have thought there would be some other purpose, some grander, more sinister take over the galaxy kind of motive behind the whole we're just a swanky space library thing. But apparently not. The core must expand to live. Enough said. On the subject of this incredible library, the Ultra boast of having a considerable amount of information about Earth, but don't know how humans procreate, don't know how humans have coitus, have intercourse, have sex, don't know how humans boff each other, making the beast with two backs, etc. Spooning, doggy, girl on top, reverse cowgirl, boring old missionary. Where was I? Oh, yes, of course. The bonding ceremony. Yes, I do not believe for 1 second that the Ultra do not have any information on this topic. Frankly, given how obsessed humans are with sex, the Ultra should have learnt where human babies came from long before they learn what human babies look like. And yes, if we take their statement about knowing a considerable amount about Earth at its most literal, we know a lot about the planet rather than humans, I still find it impossible to believe that the important omission in their knowledge of humans is the bonding ceremony. Could it be just an any old excuse for Tarrant and Dana to start knocking boots, much to the titillation of the giggling Blake 7 audience? Maybe. We had it in the last episode with Avon and the Cali alien. I will say this for it, after Dana rocked the whole planet with that explosion, for Ultra 3 to ask quizzically,
Is that the bonding ceremony?
funnier than any of the rubbish Villa was spouting to Aurak. I promise you. I also found some of the plot contrivances a little irritating. Tarrant just happens to find 2 tubes in the Ultra's office and confidently takes them, believing them to be the receptacles containing Cali and Avon's stored minds. He then manages to know how to reverse the procedure, quipping that he hopes he got them the right way round. And what do you know? They were the right receptacles, and they were put in the right way round. The other bodies being fed to the core must have been surplus menials, which is regrettable for Ultraworld because if they had been allowed to work, instead of being the core's canapé, they might have got round to filing those 2 receptacles. But I'm on the side of the goodies, so I'm not complaining that much. It's also lucky that the Ultra did take the Liberator into Ultraworld itself, because as Avon points out, they have no bracelets. Even luckier that the power of the Liberator's engines and the density of its hull was so much more strong than those colossal bars holding the ship in place. They also retcon the amount of money that Avon tried to steal before he was captured by the Federation. Villa said 5 million in Spacefall, the Ultra say 500 million here. But between a highly advanced and intelligent species who devote themselves to collecting information and facts, compared to Villa, which figure are you more likely to believe? And if all that isn't enough, I couldn't help but laugh at the inflatable testicle that represented the core, although some of the close-ups of its destruction weren't too bad. Add to that Dana somehow being able to secrete a remote control bomb on her person and another tiny one in her mouth, yet another power plant being used as an alien location, and the general silliness of the solution to all these problems with Villa feeding children's limericks and rhymes to Aurak, and you wonder why I gave it even 1 star. If Michael Keaton, the man who played Villa, cited this as his least favourite episode, I am hardly in a position to disagree. But I can't fully agree, and it does get a star from me. Why? Because it's fun. We know it's not that serious an episode, but so does the episode itself. At least that's how it comes across. These are the baddies, this is the scenario, let's see how our heroes get out of it. And it's great. There are no massive contrivances or massive holes in the plot, certainly no more than other episodes we've had in Blake 7. And it still more or less feels like Blake 7. It's confident in its silliness, and I feel confident in giving it its mark. That concludes my review on Ultraworld. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video, please share this video, please subscribe to my channel, and please check out my other Blake 7 episode reviews. And for some reason I can't stop thinking about bonding ceremonies. I'll see you later.